Welcome to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. These light warriors, both native New Yorkers, walk their walk, talk their talk, and keep the real in the deal. This dynamic duo joined forces to assist you through your transformational journey one step at a time, empowering you with spiritual tools you can use in your daily life. Each show begins as a conversation creating an opening for spiritual connection. There are never any scripts, and Spirit is always illuminating the way. And that's when the shift hits the fan. The magical messages of the ancestors, spirit guides, and Gaia are respected, honored, and always given sacred space to communicate. Join Marilyn and Elizabeth as they shake shift up and do what they do best, speak from their hearts.
Welcome back, everybody. Elizabeth and I will be discussing the importance of celebrating the playful, creative self. In these transformational times, it's important that we make time for play, creativity, and to honor ourselves, remembering to be creative and in the wonder of it all. To give yourself permission to use your imagination, for this is where the juicy nuggets and lightbulb moments happen. Let's dare to be playful and feel the joy. It's always so good to come together, you know. Elizabeth, I'm so excited today because it's just like this, the energies today are just like swirling all over the place. My phone is off the hook and I'm going like this. Okay, let's balance, baby. Let's do a little playtime, remember, playtime. And then it's about remembering to take care of myself. Remembering to take care of myself. That's what I've been repeating all day today. Remember to take care of the self, Mama. Let's do this. You know, Mama. So thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Marilyn. I already had my Marilyn Mama moment earlier. I was one of those phone calls. So I'm so grateful for you, too. And I think this is such a really important subject. But I want to talk about, you know, right before the show went on, you were grabbing your Florida water. So tell everybody, what's Florida water?
Well, you know, I use Florida water to clear and to cleanse energetically and to separate myself from the energies that were swirling before I start something new, right? So it's almost like just disconnecting from any energetic supercharge that has been kind of ignited, because it really makes a difference. And for me, it's just this ritual that I do. And for me, it works. I mean, it feels really good. It smells amazing. And I'm able to feel back and rebalanced and recentered. So it's been, a very interesting morning. I did get up at 6 o'clock this morning, and I have not stopped. Yeah, I haven't stopped.
I got up at 4 a.m. this morning. Usually I get up at 5. But I was up, ready to go and ready to rumble. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm up at 4 today. But I'll tell you, I thought, I have a whole extra hour. It went by in 3 seconds, of course, So, I'm excited about this topic. I know for me, especially in the past week, Marilyn and I struggle with the weekly topics because we plan them about a month in advance, depending on how far we are in the month. And, things shift from week to week, day to day, hour to hour. And so I definitely want to talk about play, but I want to start with the not playing, because that's kind of where I found myself getting hooked up here in the last, I would say, 7 to 10 days. And it's not about being in avoidance. We all know there's different things going on out there and difficult things for everyone. This is not about being in delusion or in denial. But I have found that I have overstretched myself, which a lot of us like warriors do. And because we have such, generous hearts and we want people to help people so that they can shift stuff so they feel better. And I have found myself, like you said at the beginning of the show, getting crabby and getting shaky and not eating enough at the right time. And, and I have to pull myself back and go, wait a second. Are you going to practice what you preach to everybody else? Or are you just going to be a preachy Sagittarius? As my friend Greg would call me, an exaggitarius, and just keep pushing yourself, because that's literally how you ended up having your great awakening, because you didn't stop and you didn't play and you didn't listen. So, you know, particularly this time of year, I've been thinking about, where are the pockets of fun? Where are the things that bring us fun? You know, and they're different for everyone. Of course they are. But the number one thing, I know it sounds ridiculous. It's like I say every show, pencil yourself in your own date book, because if you don't, you're going to get, you know, the nothings, right?
Yeah, you have to make the time.
You have to make an agenda to have your fun. You have to schedule in your fun. It's like married people have been married 10 years and they schedule in date night and, you know, getting canoodling lucky, you know. It's like it sort of kills the fun a little bit if you know that you're planning the fun. But not really if you wrap your head around it and you have fun with it, right?
Yeah, it's important, isn't it? Like, let's think about how important that is, though. And you're putting yourself first, and you're putting yourself in a place where then you're able to do more, right? Because the more, all this morning, all I kept saying was, remember self-care, remember self-care, remember to choose you, remember to choose you. And I've been saying that this whole week. And I think that that's like, you know, sometimes I think that when we plan our topics, you know, like this topic is about playful, creativity, joy, and all this kind of stuff. And then a lot of other stuff starts kicking up. And so it's about, what are you practicing? You have a topic coming up, and it's about being creative and putting yourself, you know, taking care of the self and, you know, finding the joy and doing all these things. And then life is happening while you're creating all of these experiences, these moments or these topics. And then you get such a wave of stuff that comes in. And it's really about our focus, and it's really about our becoming aware of how it is that we're feeling, right? Because how we're feeling then it spirals, right? And it actually grows, and then it's what's presented in front of us to kind of like, you know, some people say, oh, we're being tested, you know, oh, here goes another test. Well, I don't see the world like that. I just don't experience things that way. I just experience it as another moment for me to open my eyes wide open and to allow myself to go within to be able to better understand what it is that is surfacing. Because in these times right now, there's so much that's going to surface. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to like catch it in a net and then store it and then say, I got it, and then not do anything about it? Yes, and not do anything about it? Or are we going to be able to say, okay, I see you, and I acknowledge you, and I will sit. Yeah, and I will sit with you, right?
Yeah.
Because what I want to do is I want to sit with this until it no longer has a charge that is not for my highest and greatest good, you know? And we could do we can do the same thing with all that is good that is happening in our world too. We can do the same processing, right? Because what we want is more of that, right? So we can do all of this, and it's so important, you know. Like I'm hearing so much, and you know, this whole week it's been like that, but this morning it's been like supercharged. It's almost like it got amped up just before just before we got on the radio, and I'm going, oh my God, what's the message? You know, what is the message that we're supposed to, you know, tune into and be able to ride, you know, let's say for the next week, right?
Well, I mean, I think whenever you sit there and go, well, we're going to talk about having fun and playing and being in the feeling of having fun and the lightness and the wonder, then you're going to be challenged. Oh, really?
Yes.
You really think you can do that? Really?
Yes.
Well, here's a nice little wrench. And I think, just like you said, in a different way, it's for you to evolve, for us to get to the next level. I thought a lot about this topic last night, and I thought about my 8-year-old self. And I went back to my 8-year-old self, and I thought, what did I love to do? I grew up in Greenwich Village on Bank Street. It was like an island in the middle of Manhattan. You know, it was a very safe place at that time in the 60s and early 70s. And I loved the book Harriet the Spy so much. There's illustrations in this book, and it's just about this young girl whose parents are getting divorced, just like mine were, and that they separated, and she had to find herself in a new way in the city, and she would go and spy on her neighbors. And she had a little notebook, and she would take notes down because she wanted to be a detective when she grew up. And so I would get on my brother's big wheel, and I would get on the big wheel, and I'd have my little notebook, and I'd go around the village, and I knew like the actors that were like on the Double Mint commercial, and I would like go and pretend like I was writing notes and look at their window from across the street. And you know, there was nothing malicious about it. It sounds very stalkerish, but it wasn't. Quite innocent and quite playful. And another memory that came to me is when I went to camp in Maine, and a lot of the girls were all from Park Avenue and very rich families, and they all had the right tennis shoes and all that stuff. And so it was a little bit of a challenge for me, but what I found as a city girl was being in the woods and looking at the little tiny itty bitty earthworms that were like neon green. And that's where I really found my love of nature, because I grew up in the concrete jungle. And I could lose myself in hours in a pine cone and listening to the birds. And, you know, those are just ideas that I want to throw out there for other people, because if you're going, well, I don't remember how to have fun, what did I like? Go back to that time, 8, 7, 9, when you got lost in an anthill for hours, right? Whatever that was for you.
Or take out your crayons and your coloring pencils, colored pencils, and start to co-create something and color outside of the lines, you know. And I remember that when I was a young girl, what did I love to do the most was to sit and color, and just like I used to color outside the lines as well, because I used to enjoy it. And then I used to trace really dark around the edges, and then I would paint outside of those edges. And it was so, for me, I really believe that that's a form of meditation, and that's my place. That's the place where, and I tell you, and I kid you not, I have crayons like nobody's business. I have colored pencils, sharpeners. I have paper. I have all kinds of fun stuff, right?
Hey, Marilyn, did you ever take your crayons with wax paper and shave them and then iron like a pattern? Have you ever done that?
I've done that.
It's so fun.
Yeah. And I've also done the, when you color, when you put a lot of different colors underneath the paper, and then, on the paper, and then you put black on top of all those colors, and then you start to use something to scrape. I did that so many times, and it was so, for me, it was all about discovering what I was going to create and what was going to turn up. And so that was fun. And, or dancing, and just, I didn't know how to dance. I still believe I don't know how to dance. But you know what? I love to dance, and I don't care. I don't care if somebody looks at me and says, what she thinks she's doing. I go, I don't really care. It's none of your business. It's my business.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you know what I found, like, lately, when I needed to shift something and I've had enough, I know this really dates me and makes me sound really dorky, but it is really fun. I put on Barbara Streisand and oh God, what is her name? Donna Summers, enough is enough. And I blast it with my headphones and I do like the chicken dance. You know, I don't care what I look like because what I'm doing is being spastic and getting the energy out of my body.
Yes,
and
yes.
so I try to purposely like put my left foot out or a weird move I never made before.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, you start giggling at yourself.
And you know what? You know what's beautiful about that is that when we're children and we're doing those kinds of things, right? We're doing it automatically, and we're not really even aware that what we're doing is moving the energy that really feels a little bit blocked, and that energetically it's not feeling good in our bodies. So we move or we sing to the top of our lungs, or you know, or whatever it is that makes us feel better, right? Even as adults, I tell people, dance, move your body. You know why? Move your arms, move your legs, right? Because it's so important for us to move that energy out of the body. And what better way than movement, right?
Yes.
And let's speak it out. Let's sing loudly, you know?
I want to say something about that when we come back from our first break,
yes,
because there's something I want to talk about that singing, because I grew up with somebody who really knew how to do that and inspired me. And it was before anybody in my life was doing that, right? You know, I just think right now when things are so dark and so heavy, we really do need these bursts, these purposeful bursts of play and fun.
Yeah.
And if we don't, it's like when they say stop and breathe 3 times a day. Center. Well, one of those can be a play break. Why not? We don't play enough. So when we come back, we're going to dive more into playing, dancing, singing, and all fun things. So you guys, please stay tuned.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. And we are coming back from our first break, and Marilyn made me think of this. For years, I made jewelry, and at the end, it was very personalized and hand-stamped. And I have this bracelet that I wear, and it says one side brave, and the other side it says, A, I'm adorable. B, I'm so beautiful. C, I'm the cutest one around. In very tiny print. You can't even see it. But when I was a young girl, my mother we grew up in a loft in New York City, and we had the back end of the loft, and she would come, and I slept in a loft that I actually climbed a ladder to get up to. So I had a little window I could look down in the hallway. And my mother would come through that hallway with her big, long hair and her white nightgown, and she would say, A, I'm adorable, B, I'm so beautiful, C, I'm the cutest one around. And she had such a sprite and what a wonderful way to wake up,
That's
right?
so beautiful.
So beautiful. And I mean, this went on till as long as I lived with her in my 20s, you know. When I'd visit her, I'd spend the night over. She'd do the same thing. And, you know, that's what I was going to say. Like, who cares how bad you sound? Sing in the shower. When I was a kid, I would wander around all the time, sitting late at night by the fire escape above the laundromat, and I would sing make-up songs. La, 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 you know. And that was what I loved to do. Just sit there and make up little songs, little ditties. Why don't we all, like, just start doing that? Making up little ditties. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's about helping us to feel good again, right? And how do we feel good again? We childlike, right? Because when we are young, we don't have all those judgments or criticisms, you know, or hopefully, right? On us.
Well, you might have them.
Yeah,
but you
and
could go in the backyard and get lost in a tree or a bird or a, you know, we did that.
Or climb out onto your fire escape.
That's right. We found ways then.
Yes, there's always ways to redirect that energy, you know. But when we were talking about the singing, and we were talking about, and it brought a memory of my father and I, because my father used to sing. Oh, his voice was so amazing. And so he used to sing, and people would gather, you know, in the neighborhood just to hear him singing. And I remember, you know, sitting on his lap and singing along with him, and, you know, just feeling so good to be able to put my voice with his. And, you know, it just brought that memory, and I hadn't thought about that in a while. And I feel really emotional over it, because I'm like, oh my gosh, my dad, you know. And I don't know what I sounded like. He just gave me a platform, you know. He just gave me a platform. He you know, he would sing with me, and I would sing with him, and it would feel so. It felt like love, right? It felt so deep and so real and so amazing, you know, to sit with him and to sing. And that was something that he treasured, you know. He treasured, you know, singing and sharing his voice with others, and, you know, and others just enjoying, you know. They would see him and they would say, sing, Eddie, sing for us. And I would, no matter where, you know, we would be in the neighborhood. It didn't matter, you know. If people knew him, they would just ask him to sing a song, you know. And so, you know, it's just, you know, the voice is such a powerful tool, and it's so important for us to use it. And we don't even realize, like, I don't know, maybe my dad knew, or maybe he didn't know just how much joy and excitement and love he brought into my life, you know, especially when we sang together. When we had that moment, it was so special. It was just the two of us, you know. There were three of us, you know, there were three children. And you know, I got that special moment, you know, of sitting and singing with him. And everybody got their special moments, but I got that one. And it felt so special for me, you know, that I can still, like, when I remember it, it feels so good to my soul. It feels so whole for my soul.
Yeah. And I can see my mom dancing in the hallway, and her happy face and the vibration of waking up to that. And of course, there was this part of me when I was, you know, in my teenage years that I was like, oh God, you know.
But that's such a beautiful song.
I know.
What a message.
And she also used to always talk about how her father, when she was a little girl, because she was the youngest of four sisters, and she used to always share this story where she was in her father's office, and all of a sudden she was climbing the wall to get to this chocolate on the bookshelves, and there was this big giant clang, and everybody rushed into the room, all three sisters, her father, her mother, and herself, and she had chocolate all over her face. And she goes, ow, Adelaide did it. Adelaide did it. She points at her sister with chocolate all over her face. So, my grandfather used to say there once was a girl with a curl in the middle of her forehead. And when she was good, she was very good. And when she was bad, she was horrid. She was
very
hard. And she always used to share that story. My mother, because I started Angel with an Edge, because my mother had that edge. She had that playfulness. She had a little bit of a bad side, and she liked to make people laugh. And it was in good humor. And I think a lot of us now with the politically correct and it's hard. People are so on guard. And sometimes all you need, and we've said this before on the show, is to smile at someone or say something that makes them laugh, or a smile that makes people feel. You can feel that, and it changes and shifts everything. And the frequency, right? The voice is the sound. That's a frequency that is the ripple of the stone, right? Through that pond.
Right. And it comes from within, right? And it comes from within. If you hold if you put your hand on your chest or on your throat, and you start to sing, and you start to feel the vibration of the song of that's the rhythm that's coming through you, it's amazing. I mean, I think that is so powerful. But I think that life, we're so busy in this life that we forget to honor our spirit, our soul, our calling. We forget to put ourselves first and foremost, right? Because, and it's so important when I say that, I really feel like I just want everybody to hear that. I want everybody to really feel that. The importance of putting yourself in a place where you can honor yourself, where you can love yourself, when you can treasure yourself, when you can respect yourself, and when you can put yourself first. Because when you're able to do those things, my gosh, there's so much expansion and so much growth. Like I think about, sometimes people go, oh, put myself first. Oh my God, that's so selfish. And I go like this. Well, listen. Listen, Linda. Listen. When you're on a plane, what do they say to you? Mask on first. Mothers with children, put your mask on first. Let's understand why. Because if mama doesn't put her mask on first and she gives it to the children first, no one's going to make it. Now, if mama puts it on first and then puts it on the next child and then puts it back on self and then puts it on the next child and puts it back on self and puts it on the next child, we are all going to make it. You understand? And we're going to make it because mama still has breath in her, because the little ones are not going to know what to do or even how to hold that mask in place. And so we have to be able to recognize that we can hold that mask in place if we have the energy to do that. And if we don't put the mask on ourselves first, then we will not be able to do much for others. Right?
Yeah,
so important.
Look, I want to say something about what you're saying there, because I'm getting on a plane for 3 hours. I'm going to Nashville. I haven't gone anywhere in a while. I'm so excited. Now, I can get on that plane and have my double mask on and be hot and uncomfortable and stiff and angry and pissed and whatever. Or I can get on that plane and I can have my double mask and I can go, I'm so excited. I haven't been on an adventure in so long. Look, I have a window seat. I can do whatever I want. I can listen to all the stuff I haven't been able to listen to for 3 weeks because I'm on a plane. I'm a captive audience, right? So exactly. I love that. And I love what you were talking about, because I want to say, I have found myself watching, like, I Love Lucy, Golden.
And yeah, how interesting is that, right? So you're going back. Yeah, you're going back to, the things that were your favorite, the things that brought you joy, the things that, while you were growing up, you were enjoying. so that you can bring back those moments.
It was a lighter, hard time, it feels like. I want to say one more thing. When you were talking, you made me think of Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, right? He was abandoned by his family. They left him in his bed. And then, he's at home alone in the holidays, and he's making his own little steak, and he's got his little napkin, and he's got his TV. And, it could have been very frightened. But instead, because he was so innocent and in that playful part of himself still, that he just had a grand old time. And so I would say, watch what you're watching. Watch what you're in your time. That's your time. At the end of the day, my head is mashed potatoes. I work with people all day. Sometimes I just need to shut up and chill. And when I do that, I'm really conscious of, what am I putting in? Is it high vibe? Is it making me feel good? So, again, not going to get into the news, but just really, when you find your pockets, make sure they're as high vibe as they can be. And if you need to be a nerd like me and go back to the 80s, that's cool. It's fine. Whatever
it's the
works
feel good,
for you.
Right? It's the feel good. Go to the feel good, and look.
Always.
If things are happening around you, right, that are difficult, maybe even a little, traumatic.
We all have
whatever those moments are, right? Whatever those moments are, discomfort, anxiety, all those things, right? We're gonna experience those things, those overwhelming experiences as well, right? And it's about learning how to, I go like this and I say, it's all about the negotiation with the self, right? Because, I got to a place where overwhelming was seriously not, that was just doing me in, right? Because if I was managing everything and then all of a sudden, let's say I'm juggling 15 things and one fell, it was like I'm in overwhelm, and it's like I'm not even looking at the 14 other things that I'm keeping up, in the air that I'm balancing. I'm just focused on that one thing that dropped off and I had to learn, that I can't put my focus and my energy on that one thing that didn't turn out, but I need to be able to know that I am managing so well that I still have these 14 things and I'm doing really good with them. But release the focus on that one so that I can continue to balance the rest of the 14, or they're all going to crumble down because I've lost my focus and I'm focusing on that one. So, it's so important to learn that, and it's hard to do it. It's really hard, but it gets to a place where we have to go, I have to step back, and then I'm going to say, am I going to allow this to impact and define me? Or am I going to be able to shift this energy so that I can go now sit with this and review it and then try to see what I can. If I stay in overwhelm, I'll never find a solution. I'll never find a solution because in overwhelm, I cannot think.
And you can just get stuck in that little whirlpool. And what does that do? What does that do? It festers more whirlpool. It's just making the whirlpool build because that
is so electric.
Build.
Yeah, and it's electric because I got to tell you, when I used to get overwhelmed, it was so electrifying that I would think get your finger out of the socket. Because, it's very powerful. And depending on the person that you are, it can take you places you may not ever have wanted to go. So the thought is we need to be able to have even maybe a safe thought, right? A safe thought, like a way of a mantra, something that we can say to ourselves in that moment and keep repeating until we get to...
up.
Yes, and then we can move in the energy of, I think I can, things are becoming clearer. I can see why. Okay, I can understand. Yeah, but so I'm not saying, push things away like they don't exist.
No.
But what I'm saying is, let's get a little bit creative. Let's get a little playful with things. Let's try to find the joy, okay?
Yes.
And then we can go back to that situation, and from the joy place, make it better.
Yes. And you know what I loved when we had the pandemic here in Colorado? At one point at the very beginning, I don't know who started it, but at 8 p.m. every night, we would go out our front door, everyone in Colorado, of course, I mean, I'm sure there were some people that didn't contribute, but we would go out there and we would howl. And the reason we would howl at 8 o'clock every night was to support the medical people and all the people that were taking care of. And that was so flippin' fun because there was camaraderie and you were using your voice and you were getting some stress out of you. And you realized even though we were all separate in our little boxes, we were connected. So
think about the
when
frequency.
you're talking, yes, and then when you were talking, I'm like, go out and howl at the moon. Go out at 3 in the morning if you can't sleep and put your feet in the dirt and look up at the sky. I mean, just do those little tiny things. Who cares? And could we finally, please, please, please throw perfection out the flipping window? We are not here to be perfect. We are not here to be perfect. We are here for the experiences. Another thing that I love is just when I close my eyes. Did you see the movie Titanic, Marilyn?
Yes.
Yes. And do you remember when she was, 98 and a tiny little thing, and she goes out on the boat with her little pink toenails and she throws that heart of the ocean in the ocean, right? There's just those things that it doesn't matter what age you are. It's finding that joy and the things that make you the happiest. And you know what? They change as we age. Of course, not everything is when we were young, but it's that wonderment and being, because what you focus on multiplies. We all know that, right?
Yeah, it increases.
Wow, girl, I can't believe we've gone through 2 segments.
Wow.
Already.
Okay. Yeah. So remember, right? Let's remember to let's remember that we are power filled and resilient, and that
playful.
and that we can turn things around. Right? Simply by just being playful and creative and reconnecting with the self. The answers are within, right?
Frequency of something,
Yeah.
I mean, that's so true with my mediumship. All I have to do is think of someone that I love that's crossed over and a memory that I have, and I can feel my heart going poof, 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 poof,
Yeah.
opening up right there. Being in the wonder and the play of things, even if it's just for a brief second, it's like it exponentially goes up. The more you do it, the more you build on it.
And I'm going to ask everyone to find their uplifters, whoever those people are. If you don't have an uplifter in your life, well, it's time.
Yeah.
Find your uplifters. Those people, it could be one person. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a whole community of people. It could just be that one person, right, that you can sit with. And you know that when you call them and you give them whatever story it is that's going on, right, that they can listen, they can hear you, they can provide sacred space for you, and that they can help to uplift you.
Yeah, just give you a nugget of hope that you're not alone and that you've got this.
And to remind you of your power, right? Of who you are. That reminds you every time who you are. Because we tend to forget sometimes.
And thank God for YouTube, because you know what I do? I go to YouTube and I find puppies and kittens. Puppies and kittens tumbling and rumbling on top of each other. And that immediately boosts me. I can feel the little hearts puffing up, furry little hearts all around me.
Yeah.
So, Marilyn, I guess we're going to go to our last break. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to be right back for our final segment here on Shooting the Shift.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world.
OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. ascendinghearts.com.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Coping 19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
With everything going on, there may be times you feel like you can't handle it all. Journaling, meditating, and talking with friends and family can help you feel more grounded and better able to cope. Your kids are also going through a lot of new experiences, and simply talking with them about their feelings can be quite powerful.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Marilyn. So I wanted to talk about a promotion that I created for the sessions. So I have 45-minute and 1-hour sessions for the month of December through the end of January that are running on a promotional rate. So 45 minutes is going to be 20%, and the 1-hour sessions are going to be 30%. And the sessions will include a spiritual consultation, a realignment of your energetic field, and any messages that need to be heard for processing. I'm noticing that, these energies currently are requiring us to do a lot of internal work. And rebalancing and recentering our internal compass is really important. So I encourage you to seek, medicine person like myself or energy body practitioner, craniosacral therapist. It doesn't have to be me, but I would love to work with you, right? But it's truly important during these times for you to find someone that can assist you in your processing for gentle shifting, right? Because the shifting is happening, and it has been for some time, and you may be feeling all types of stuff rising to the surface, and it's time for the unraveling of the old stories so as to integrate the parts that are necessary for your expansion. So you can send
that.
me.
I want to say, Marilyn, I know I'm your soul sister, but I have to say I've been really had the privilege to work with Marilyn, and she's really good at shifting stuff quickly.
Yeah, and it's important. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Yes. And so you can send the email and make sure that you include your name, your telephone number, and the type of session and the time zone, because that's important too. It's going to be via Zoom. So you can send it to shootingtheshiftlive@gmail.com, or you can visit my website at universalsacredmedicine.com for services and promotional information. Again,
awesome.
so it's shootingtheshiftlive@gmail.com or universalsacredmedicine.com.
Well, dang, girl, yeah, I'm so impressed. You got a shootingtheshift@live.com email. I need one of those. Maybe I'll just throw yours out there as mine. That's awesome. So, this is the one-time only deal I'm offering because I'm getting on an airplane on the 16th. And we will have radio shows through the end of the year, so don't worry about that. But I wanted to let people know last year I did this, and it was such a big hit that I decided to do it again. And among my many spiritual pizza pie things, I am a Lenormand reader, and Lenormand is an oracle I call the native New Yorker, and I had the privilege of studying under 4 Lenormand masters, and also I I've been teaching the Lenormand for a few years. So basically, this is a reading that shows you the year ahead for 2022. And it's a wonderful way to find out the flavoring and the nuances and the things that are coming up. It gives you tools to use for the year ahead. And I am offering that at 30% off if you book by the 15th. So you've got a good solid week. It's only good for 1 week. And I just think it's a wonderful opportunity for anyone out there. You can reach me at angelwithanedge.com. Or you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, angelwithanedge.com, Elizabeth Lindsay. And it's a great way to plan your year and move ahead. So both of us are offering these. Way to give back to us and to them.
Yeah, last year I took advantage of your reading and I loved it. It was amazing. I was able to follow the year and it was just really beautiful. It was a beautiful reading. So yeah, I would recommend it, definitely. To anyone who really wants to, kind of follow up on their year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, every year's different for us. And of course, the general energies, we got to remember worth and value are a big theme playing out for everyone in the world. But how it shows up for you, also numerology-wise, we're heading into a 6, which is a little more harmonious. It's a little more hard work, but it's rewarding. But the flavorings and the nuances of your numbers and your birthday will show so many things that will pertain just to you, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's
so I
unique.
Can't believe we're almost at the end of the year, Marilyn.
I know, and
how
I
are
have
you
so
feeling?
much.
How are you feeling about our radio show so far? It's been it's fun now that you're in the mojo. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't scare me as much. I really had to take the leap of faith, and I'm glad, that I was holding your hand, and I'm still holding your hand doing it.
I am too.
Yeah, I love it because I'm able to express myself and I'm able to share, and I think that I just really believe so much in the frequencies that get put out, and I know that during this show we do put out the frequencies, even when we have certain topics and the energies are different. It's so funny because we just go back into the frequency of the day, right? Because it really matters. Yeah, yes, it matters. Yeah.
But you know what? The other thing is, I know I've mentioned this before. I had a radio show for a few years and it was fun. Yes, of course, it was a lot of hard work, but I was on my own. And when you planted the seed, it was like, okay, do I want to do this? And it kind of evolved. But the thing is, I get to have fun and I get to show up. And I am such a huge proponent of humor. In the darkest moments of my life, I always had humor, always. Even with my mom when she was battling from her brain surgery and her journey, we used to laugh because she had a tumor. And we would quote Arnold Schwarzenegger. Poor Marilyn's going to have to watch movies all next year to catch up. But Arnold Schwarzenegger in that movie, Kindergarten Cop, and the little girl, he said, I have a headache. And the little girl said, maybe it's a tumor. And he'd go, it's not a tumor. And so my family, we would go around in our house going, it's not a tumor, because of course my mother had a tumor. But the humor and the love and the joy, that's what lightens things up for me. That's what
changes the frequency. Just think about it, right?
Even in your saddest moment, it can really shift things, right?
Yes.
And so but that's not the point with this show, because with this show, we laugh. When Marilyn and I are on Zoom, we interrupt each other constantly. We're uplifting each other. We're all of that. And that's what we want our show to be. We don't want it to be staged. We want it to be in the moment. So we're trying to figure out, moving ahead in 2022, how's that all going to work? Maybe we'll have a theme for the first segment and then move on. We're definitely going to have more guests.
Yeah, and I'd like to have
people calling in.
Yes, I can't wait for the callers.
That sounds fun to me, right?
Because that's when I'm really I just love it. I feel like I'm just in my element, and it lights me up, right? To be able to say, "Ooh, that person just got it." Okay, that feels really good.
Yes. I have to say I'm a little tiny, just a skosh jealous because you have been able to show some of your magic on the radio, albeit not a lot. But I haven't dived into that yet, with what I do.
With the readings.
With my readings and with my mediumship. And so I'm looking forward to having people call in and having people show up. I say with great humor and love in my heart, new blood. I love me some new blood, when I tune into somebody I've never tuned into before, because it's my spidey senses all go up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And isn't it exciting? And it's so exciting because it's almost like you're also feeling the excitement because you know that you're tapping in, and they don't even know it yet, but you're in.
Yes, but I do. I know it.
Magic, and the magic begins.
The magic. And the minute I am not in the awe, I will not do this work. Because I show up every day and spirit always knocks me on my butt in the best way possible. Like I am always, my mouth is on the floor, the chills are in my skin, and I couldn't be more thrilled. I can't even imagine how I think about my work, and I think about how I love to do it, and I don't even call it work, right? Because I feel that this is really like my mission. My mission is to reach as many people as possible. And because this is how I feel about my work. I feel that as the person is expanding and growing, so am I. It's a gift that gives and receives, right? Like they're expanding and I'm expanding as well. I'm learning something. It's literally the gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yes. And then there's so many ripple effects, right? Because when something is shifted, right, in a person, it shifts everything. Everybody else that they're tapping into, right, gets a little bit of that as well, right? But as the practitioner, I am also shifting because I'm learning through the experience of working with that other person something new as well, right? A new feeling, a new experience, a new vibration, a new frequency. It's all, and then it's like, ooh, I feel like a kid again sometimes. It's like, oh my goodness, what was that, right? Oh, that was amazing, or however I describe it, because I feel honored. I feel honored to do the work. It's a joy for me to do this.
I feel honored and privileged too. I really do. And I also know I haven't been doing this very long, like actually showing up and doing this work. I don't call it light walker. I call it light warrior, because I do believe I'm fighting for the light. And that's the one fight I can stand by. It's so important, I think, when we realize the magic in our hearts, when we really get in touch with that, no matter how small it is in the beginning, when we do, it's easier and easier to get back into the magic, and it feels a lot better, I gotta say.
Oh yeah, and once you feel
I'm not
good,
into suffering, Marilyn.
Yes, and once you feel good, and you've been through the process, and you know that, okay, I've sat in that stuff for so long that I created that pattern, and now I'm creating a new pattern. You have created a new pattern, and if you notice, it's easier for you to shift from that other place quicker now into the feeling good place than it was, before, which is important, right? Because when we learn that, oh my God, there's so much available to us, so much. So again, I'm going to say oxygen mask on first, right? Oxygen mask on first, right? Before you hand it over, right? Or, let's just make sure that we have, our oxygen mask on first so we can assist other people, because that's really, truly important, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of scared people right now. There's a lot of people that are having some difficult times, and sometimes the one thing you can do is just bring them a tiny token of brightness, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. No, and that's why I said, pull yourself back to a happy memory if you need to do that, or watch, listen, nothing feeds my heart better than fluffy baby kittens and puppies drooling and rolling all over each other.
Yeah,
but whatever
anything that's funny.
Yeah,
whatever makes me laugh,
Linda,
I'll go on and look for that. Yeah,
Listen,
that Linda thing makes me crack up every time. Listen, Linda, listen.
Yeah, listen,
so,
Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? It's okay to be a little weird, a little paint out of the lines. Embrace it. Go howl at the moon. Who cares what your neighbors
I never fit in. I never fit in.
I don't want to fit in. That's my goal now. My younger years, I tried so hard to fit in. And now I'm like, what a waste of time that was.
Oh,
Hello?
And it's so funny because I never fit in. I really didn't. I mean, people liked me.
No, I
everything,
never did
but
either.
I never fit in. But the other thing was, I mean, I don't know. I guess this is good thinking back now, right? But back then I was like, I didn't really care. I didn't really care that I fit in or not. I just didn't want to be somebody else. I wanted to be me. And then, the people that, that...
I gotta be me.
Yeah, and I used to sing that too.
I gotta be me. I gotta be me. I'm hearing Echo Vernon. I gotta be me.
I did it my way.
Oh, Frankie's the best, right? Yeah, put that on, put a hat on, and dance in that mirror.
That's it.
And channel your Frank, your inner Frank.
Yeah,
ooh, I got
doing
a great
it my
Frank
way.
Sinatra story I got to tell someday. Yeah. Oh, Blue Eyes, another Saggy. All right. Well, wow. All right. Well, I am really thrilled that we got through this show because for me, I am having the hardest time staying focused with my excitement of my impending trip. And it was nice to sit here for an hour, and really I feel so much better than when the show began because I was so doing the hurly-burly and the juggling cats, and now I feel like I'm ready to tackle my day and, have a nice little snack and hydrate and just keep my vibes high. How about you?
Yeah, I'm rocking that way. I'm going to just have a great time, and I'm going to make the best, of my time. Yes. So Wonderful. Thank you all. Blessings, love, and light.
Peace and blessings.